Hello and welcome to the temple. As we enter this temple today, I welcome the presence of our highest selves. I welcome the presence of the highest consciousness into this space, highest love, highest compassion. I ask for the divine to hold us in the light today. I welcome the benevolent teachers and weavers of the divine plan to grace this space, to support the expansion and sharing of spiritual experience and education. This is the place where we witness the work we talk about. We can be present for the unfolding of hearts returning to their true medicine. And you may be called to this space today because you are seeking connection to your divinity, or you are seeking a place where you can dive into your inherent perfection. It's time to remember how to heal, to walk the path of love, and participate in the restoration of the divine plan on earth. And so it is. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Oh, good. Right off the bat, I'm like, oh, there's food in my teeth. I can feel it. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Come on in. Come on in. Good morning. Hello, Donna. Greetings to you, beautiful. So, let me just share this to my personal page. So, I would like to talk about dragons. I would like to talk about dragons. I would like to talk about unicorns and dragons. And what are we doing? What are we doing here? What is the point, right? And so I have my dowsing rods. I would like to ask some questions. I would like to ask the dragons some questions. And with this concept that is unfolding now, there are a lot of people who are in their dragon awakening, and it's happening all over the place. Just yesterday, I had a past life regression session. And in that session, the woman entered into a life. We were pursuing a healing, a theme, and she arrived in a life where she was a dragon. Right? So it's more and more people are open to this, more and more we are realizing how important dragons are to humanity, right? So let's get into it. What I would like to do is let's call in the dragons. We're going to call in the dragons. And we're also going to call in the unicorns. And we're going to invite these energies in to communicate with us. And so we're going to do a quick meditation, a setting of the stage, if you will, a setting of the scene. And from here, we can communicate with these multidimensional beings and receive their support. And the reason that I want to do it with the dowsing rods is it gets me out of the way, right? And it also shows you ways that you can connect to these beings, right? You can be having conversations with dragons, with unicorns, with other, mythic animals. And I'm really using the word mythic in the sense that they are larger than life, that it's almost like difficult for us to experience them as real, even though we are moving towards that as a collective, right? And in our experience of communicating with dragons or having dragon guides or having a higher self that's in the form of a dragon, outside of that, how can we believe? How can we actually go deeper into this presencing, right? That that can serve us, that can actually help to heal the relations between humanity and dragonkind, and to support the remembering. So we have truly, participated in amnesia. We've allowed ourselves to forget. And there's a lot about our reality, our history. I actually want to say histories, right? Different levels of our past that is so deeply hidden from us. I mean, from the flood to the dragons to our own civilization to the presence of free energy to the control and the monopolies of our resources and fuel to the just simply the history of our planet, the last 13,000 years is completely convoluted. It's full of lies. And so we have to participate in our own remembering. For some people, for some intuitives and psychics, we can visit the Akashic records, we can visit other forms of information like the CDT plates, the halls of Amenti. There are these kind of different dimensions where information is kept, information is written and received and held. And so it's possible for us to look into those places and receive what is written within the records. But at the same time, that can be difficult for individuals or for people to actually believe, or to actually be able to perceive without projecting the programming that's already within that conscious mind. Then that's actually the difficult part. That's why I'm really focused on personal remembrance, which, one aspect in my experience for me, one aspect of personal remembrance has been, I'm pretty sure that there's at least 500 years missing in our history, in our recent history. And there are some that would tell me it's actually 1,000, right? But that was something that I came to on my own, not because I had heard anybody say it, right? Like I've heard some people say 300 years. I've heard some people say 1,000 years. And for me, I'm like, the Middle Ages, the Dark Ages, right? It's almost like nothing happened until the Baroque period. And as a trained musician who's trained in also music history, it really is like there was nothing until there was something. And I have a hard time with that. I have a hard time with the slow progression of saying that for 500 years we were just tinkering with strings and, bowed instruments, and eventually the harpsichord was created, and then eventually that turned into the piano, and eventually there's a whole lot that happened in that slow turning. And so I think that even in our musical history, we're misguided, misled. In our personal history, in the history of civilization, in the history of our relationship to the dragons, right? The dragons have been erased, in a sense, from our conscious history, because amnesia is real. Humanity's amnesia is real. All it takes is really 100 years, 3 or 4 generations. I mean, technically, some say it only takes 2 generations to completely forget what came before, if there is a strong insertion of a new, excuse me, if there's a strong insertion of new information, new histories, and then you teach it in the schools, and then you put half of humanity into insane asylums, and those who remember, you lock them away, and then you just train people to remember something else. I totally believe that that's what has happened here. That the last 200 years have been a full-on rewriting of our history. And even, creating things that didn't happen. Maybe even creating people that never existed in order to perpetuate, right, the stories, the histories that the people who are in charge, right, really it's these controlling families that want to perpetuate. Well, part of that big lie is the prevalence, the profound presence of dragons. You've probably seen there's a painting of a woman and her pet dragon, right? Many people have, the psyop, the changing of history, the amnesia within humanity is so great that within that space, people will defend it vehemently. They will say, that's just a fantasy painting, right? But then you will find in an old church somewhere in Italy, they remove this giant painting to find a facade, a painting behind that painting of St. Paul killing a dragon. Why would they cover that up? What's the point of covering it up? Especially if they're like all for the killing of dragons, right? What's the point of covering that painting? So we also have, just these humongous variations in history of what dragons are like, right? What they're about, what they like, what they like to do, their participation in humanity, like all of these different things. Where is the truth? So I believe that one of the main aspects or the ways that we see dragons has also been a programming, in the sense that they make dragons rageful, dangerous, scary, right? Within that concept is the encoding of you should be afraid. You should not want to have dragons. You should not want to relate to dragons. Dragons are greedy. They only care about their treasure, and they're going to steal the most beautiful woman in the village and covet her. So this fantasy concept is part of the programming that was perpetuated by many stories, and not just oral stories, but traditional fairy tales, right? That Disney perpetuated as well. They participated in one way or another. So let's step back from this programming. Let's step back. Donna, I love that. Let's step back from, like, if you see a dog that is baring its teeth, you might think that dog is angry. If you understand dogs, you'd probably understand that that dog is asserting its boundaries. It might be warning you, right? Like, don't come any closer, right? So when a dragon bares her teeth, is she doing that to scare you, to show you how capable she is and how dangerous she is? Or is she smiling? Right? I relate dogs and dragons a lot because dogs are very smart. Dragons are incredibly smart, much smarter than we are. But like, sometimes you can tell when a dog is smiling, and sometimes you can't. Sometimes it just looks like they're panting or something, right? But at the same time, it's the same thing with dragons. That we are, because of the kind of fierceness of the image, we also have this, programming within us that dragons are scary, that dragons are here to hurt us, that dragons, if they're real, right, that they don't care about us and they're going to destroy the whole village, right? So, I mean, Tolkien played a huge part in the perpetuation of this programming, right? He picked up this story and ran with it, right? Even to have his character, the Hobbit, Bilbo Baggins, have conversations with this dragon who communicates that, if I see you, I'll eat you up, right? And don't touch my gold, right? And revenge is huge in the mind of a dragon, right? So let's ask the dragons themselves, what are they about? Why do we have these old stories that keep us distant from the dragons? Now, at the same time, you can have people who use dragons to help them feel safe, to help them feel more powerful in themselves. And this is a form of embodiment that dragons can bring us, that they can show your power by embodying them. So a lot of the work that I do is about embodiment of my whole self, my true self. And so in the last 2 years, as I learn that means the embodiment of dragon, which was not ever something I sought out, was not ever something I was obsessed with. I always loved dragons, but I didn't pursue them, right? I was always like, yeah, dragons are cool. I never had, dragon imagery or anything like that in my art, in my drawings, right, in my surroundings. I wasn't really interested. Sometimes I would have unicorns because they're beautiful, right? But dragons was just like, yeah. They're cool, right? Just that much. Which makes me think that that was actually my soul just kind of I'm not sure actually. I'm not sure why that is, because I've met other dragon people who are very obvious dragon people who surround themselves with dragons and everything is dragons, and that's just not been me. I mean, of course I have more dragon stuff now that the dragons have come in. But what is it about dragon iconography that helps us in our embodiment, right? So what are the things that dragons teach us? They teach us about boundaries. They teach us about protection. How do we protect ourselves? I have little Emerald Rose here. You can see she's got her beautiful, can you see it? Get a little focus. Get a little focus on that. Here we go. And so what do the dragons teach us? They teach us how to speak our truth. Dragons, I don't think dragons can lie. I can be wrong. But they are really about being upfront and honest. They are about not hiding from the truth as well, but also being severely protective of what is theirs. And so there is that energy of like coveting, right? With the gold in the cave and all that story. Well, why do dragons retreat to caves? Because that's where they're safe, right? That's where they need to go to have their own space, to protect their own space. But also that imagery of the cave is also reflective of our inner world. So what do the dragons teach us? They teach us to have a space that is our own, that is internal, that, there might be some people that would like to covet, but they can't because it's ours. And so we can learn to really honor what is ours, right? What's your personal medicine? What's your personal, unique energy? What is it that makes you, right? Is it your love and compassion? Is it your gentleness? Is it your frankness, right? Are you totally forward and upfront like I am, right? Or are you passive? Right? Are you holding on to things? Do you keep a lot of secrets, or are you an open book? All of these different aspects of who you are part of your medicine. And so I would like to connect to my dragons. I'll call in the dragons. We'll create a little container for us here today. And I invite you to share this video as well if you feel that your community can benefit from understanding dragons, having the gentle presence of their love in your life, right? This is being in this pivotal time, a very evolutionary time. The dragons are coming back in order to help us, in order for us to be ourselves, to covet that which we hold within our own caves, and perhaps to harness that energy and bring it forward in some way. How is it that we are here to benefit the rest of humanity, right? I call in the highest light of my being, Alestria, Rumara, soul guide. I welcome the presence of your dragon guides. I welcome the presence of our protector dragons. And protector dragons, I ask that you encircle us, surround us, watch over us, and create the walls, ceiling, and floors with your scales. That the container of the rooms that we are in individually, the spaces where we are, that we are completely surrounded by dragon scales. And we are protected by the love of our dragons. Okay. So, let's find our base here. Maybe I can... How do I do this? Better? Oh, that doesn't change anything, how you can see. That's okay. Let's go like this. Maybe you are out there, Donna, and that's okay. You know, I'm like, I'm a little bit off balance. My right shoulder is much higher than my left. We need to fix that. Is that from my, no, that's just me. Mama needs to go to the chiropractor. Okay. I would like to connect to my dowsing rods. Yes, you're very eager. I know, I can feel it. Please connect to my higher self. Okay. Would like to connect to Lestra and Rumara. Can we do that? Can we do connect? Can you both answer for us today? Okay. And show me what is yes. Thank you. Show me no. Thank you so much. Okay. And my name is Erin. My name is Jennifer. No. Okay, great. Thank you so much. Okay. So are we connected to my dragon guides? Yes, we are. Okay. So I would like to ask some questions of the dragons. Can we do this? Thank you so much. Whew. Okay. I have lots of questions. If you have questions, please put them in the comments. I'm happy to ask them for you. So are there different kinds of dragons? We'll start with that. Yes. Does the earth have one dragon representing her? Does she have many dragons in her being representing her? Okay, sorry, I have an itch. Are there many humans incarnated on the planet who have been dragons before in other lives? Yes. Is this common? It's common. Thank you. As far as souled individuals on the planet, is it more than half of us? Less than half of us. More than a quarter of us? So maybe a third of humanity a third of souled humanities on the planet. I can't talk. A third of the souls on the planet, around a third of the souls on the planet that have been dragons before. Interesting. And so, did we choose to come back as humans because it was safer? Not necessarily. Okay. Is it easy to remember our past lives as dragons? No. Is that because we're so tuned into being humans? We're so human? Yeah. Okay. Can we have humans also been unicorns in past lives? Yes. So is it possible for human souls to incarnate as any animal and come back as human after that? Yeah. Thank you. Yes. Do the people who have had past lives as dragons, do they connect to dragons usually as humans? Yeah. Is that a soul memory that's like bleeding through that helps them to connect to dragons? Yeah. Look at that strong. Yes. Yeah. So, so what we're gathering is that a third of souled humans, so we're not including those that are drones or NPCs or anything like that, and it's, which is like a lot of humanity actually don't have souls. So I put my feet up and my ankles are crossed. Is that okay? Thank you. Okay. Well, let's ask this question. Is there a large percentage of humanity on the planet that do not actually have souls, that are just kind of going through the motions of living lives? Yeah. Is it more than 50%? Let me make that a complete sentence. Is it more than 50% of humanity that do not actually have souls? More than 50. More than 60% of humanity that are NPCs? More than 70% of humanity that are NPCs? 75% of humanity? No. Is it more than 75% of humanity? Okay. So is it about 3/4 of humanity that don't actually have souls? Are they are they controlled by something nefarious? This is a whole other topic that is kind of like I'm not sure if we want to ask further about that right now. I'd rather ask about dragons. Yeah. So within the quarter of humanity that are souled beings, are we enough to support the present evolution and bifurcation of the lower earth and the higher earth? We are enough. I just heard 10%. Do we need 10% to wake up and participate in the evolution of humanity? Will that create a critical mass for us? Okay. And are we close to that? The 10% of awake humanity, yes, we're close to that. Are we at 5%? 6%? So we're getting closer to the critical mass. What about 7%? 7% of humanity is awake and able to support the evolution and the raising of the new earth, the raising of the frequency of the planet. So we're at about 7%, and we need 10% to complete. And will that happen in the next 5 years? 10 years? So we're in a slow-moving process of awakening. And are the dragons supporting the awakening at this time with humanity? Yes. Is the presence of the dragons on the planet speeding up this process of awakening humanity? Is the presence of the unicorns, multidimensional beings, is the presence of the unicorns on the planet going to support this evolution of humanity as well? Yes. And is that through the healing work that they provide? And is it accurate, how I receive this, that the unicorns are responsible for restoring the distortions on the planet and the inversions? They have the power to do that within themselves. Basically, to lift veils and right inverted things and to correct the inversion of truth. Yeah. So since that information came through for me a while ago, maybe like a month ago, I include the unicorns into every container that I make, that I create when I'm doing healing work for people, when I'm doing psychic sessions, when I'm teaching in my mentorship. I'm always calling in the unicorns to come and restore, correct distortions, and to correct the inversions of truth. That is, I mean, it's for obvious reasons, right? But also for the sake of, like, I have noticed that incorrect information can come through based on the programming that the client or myself has had. Programming is strong, it's profound, and we have to work hard in order to beat it, right? In order to reconfigure and come back to the truth, right? So when we call in what I do is I call in the unicorns. I ask for them to stand in the 4 cardinal directions. And I tell them, sometimes it depends on the work that I'm doing. Sometimes I have them face outward. Sometimes I have them face inward. Usually they're facing inward if we're doing deep healing work. Otherwise, they face outward, and they're basically with the structure of the horn that they have, and they're facing the cardinal direction. And the reason for this is because even the elements and the directions and the energy that comes from these directions, east, south, west, north, has corrupted information. And so when we call on the unicorns to come and be a beacon, that information has to come through, right? Like they're a guardian of that position, that direction. That information has to come through them, and it gets restructured into divine alignment with the power of the unicorn horn. And because we have that spiral, right? We have that, the purity of the animal itself as well. So not just, the restructuring, but perhaps it is that animal is so powerful and so pure because of the divine power of that horn and the restructuring of reality that it contains within itself, right? It's kind of like, spinning water and restructuring water. It's actually literally just like that. so that the spiral of the horn and that that divine geometry of the horn probably is affecting the water in the ether, in the air, right? And affecting humanity, affecting all of creation by how it is shifting and correcting things with its structure. Okay. Has traditional archaeology covered up the fact of living dragons? Is the Tyrannosaurus Rex actually a dragon? Yeah. Are there other dinosaurs that have been convoluted in order to cover up the presence of dragons? In my mind, I'm seeing smaller dinosaurs, like less than a couple feet tall, kind of smaller dragons. So is that accurate? Thank you. Seeing that. Okay. Thank you so much. I mean, just think of the T-Rex. Like, what is the point of these little itty bitty arms? They were connected to something much bigger, right? And we also don't know that their bodies, because everything is an artist's rendering. How do we know that the body was so big? I mean, like the belly, right? Like, I'm thinking of my children's books that we have. We were actually reading a book last night from the Magic Tree House, reading one of the books where, it's like you look at the shape of a T-Rex and they're kind of like fat, right? Like, what is that? That it's like they have like this torso, they have a big belly, they look ridiculous. Every other dinosaur, and I believe that dinosaurs existed. I'm definitely not a denier of dinosaurs, but if you look at other dinosaurs, there's purpose in their bodies, right? Like nature is always refining itself into purpose and perfection, right? Of purpose. So, one of my favorite dinosaurs since childhood is the Stegosaurus. The Stegosaurus is an herbivore, but it has these huge plates, huge hard plates on its back, on its spine, and then it has these giant, horns, spikes on its tail, right? There are all of these different levels of self-protection and perseverance, right? Now, the T-Rex doesn't need to protect itself because he's the biggest guy out there. He's the big, scariest, meat eater out there. But why would he be made to be so big in the torso, in the belly, with these little arms that can't do anything? They can't even touch his mouth. They can't help him eat. They can't pick things up. Like, nowhere in any, like, even Jurassic Park, right? Like, they never showed those hands being of use. And in nature, everything has a use. So, did dragons participate in the creation of the planet? Okay. Do dragons participate in the creation of all celestial bodies? Yes. Are dragons just everywhere? Yes. So dragons come in all kinds of forms. Is that correct? Okay. And we have the forms that we've been shown because it's easiest to imagine, I suppose. But there are also dragons in the air that we can't see. Are there also dragons in the air that we can't see? Dragons in the stars, in the cosmos that we can't see? Okay. Dragons in the water that don't have a physical body. So I guess my question is, do all dragons have a physical manifestation? Yes. Are they always in, sorry, I'm like moving my hands a little bit, try not to. Are dragons always in their physical form? There it is. But they can take form if they want to. Are there petrified dragons in Mother Earth? Are there other giant animals that are also petrified in the earth? Yes. So Levi, the Leviathan at the bottom of South America, is that really a giant alligator? Was it also a dragon? Not a dragon. Okay. Whew. Any other questions? What questions would you like to ask? Okay, so can everyone have their own? You already know the questions, so you're saying yes. Can everyone have their own dragon guide? No? Do you have to believe in dragons in order to have a dragon guide? That's what I heard. Okay, so if you believe in dragons, can you have a dragon guide? Yes. Is that why not everybody can have a dragon guide? Because they don't believe? Yes, thank you. Okay. Is there like an infinite amount of dragons in reality? No. Okay, there's a finite amount of dragons in our galaxy, in our universe. There's a finite amount. Okay. But just like humans, they're also reproducing themselves, perpetuating. Okay. Okay, great. Yes, Donna. Yeah. So dragons can move between the dimensions. This is a question. Sounds like a statement. So can dragons move? Can dragons move through the dimensions and shift dimensions whenever they want? Mm-hmm. Having some nerve pain where I've had shingles in the past. Like, why are my shingles coming up right now? That's weird. Hmm. Can dragons do anything? No. Do dragons respond to free will in the same way that angels do? So if we ask a dragon to do something, they will do it? Well, what I heard while the rods were going is that if it serves the highest good, like they also have within them their own free will. Let's ask. Great question, Jessica. Do dragons have their own free will? Do angels have their own free will? So when we ask dragons to do something, if it goes against the benefit of humanity, do they refuse? So they're not going to, just serve your ego, right? No. Okay, thank you. Do dragons need to eat? And when do dragons need to eat when they are not in physical form? So do you still need to consume energy in some way? Is it only when you're in physical form that you need to consume energy? Yes. In order to sustain the physical form? Otherwise, you are sustained by light? Yes. Interesting. So then, what are you eating when you're in physical form? Animals? Do you ever eat humans? No, not anymore. Did you used to eat humans? I heard this like sometimes. Sometimes. Is that human really needed to just go away? Yes. Oh, goodness. Okay. Do you like to eat humans? No, that's good. So you eat animals, you eat large animals, like, do you eat dogs? Yes. Cats? Sheep? I mean, we just imagine that you eat sheep. That's in all the stories, sheeps and goats. Yes. Are there many physical dragons present on the planet right now? What is many? I heard. What is many? Are there 100 dragons on the planet? In physical form? 100? More than 100? Are there more than 100 in physical form on the planet? Are there more than 500 dragons in physical form on the planet? Okay, not including the dragons that are connected to humans. Okay. Interesting. So, what does the embodiment of dragon mean? What does dragon embodiment mean? So, if you have a connection to a dragon, I want you to call it in right now. And ask for that dragon to come and be right behind you. Okay? So I call in the presence of my dragon guide or guides to come be right next to me. And just close your eyes and breathe. And you're going to ask that dragon to support you energetically and to offer to you the dragon essence, the energetic that supports you the most. And your dragon will know what that means, will know what that is. But I ask my dragon guide, my dragon self, to provide for me the essence or energy that you hold, my dragon holds, that can support me the most at this time, that serves my highest good. And maybe you hear a word or a few words that represent that energy, that reflect that energy for you. And you can bring that into your heart, to that information. And ask your dragon to breathe through you, to move through you, to provide this energetic support that you need to move out any energies that do not belong to you or don't serve your highest good. Good. And what do you notice? Do you receive any insight, any correction, any support? Yeah, I'd love to ask this question. I don't know if still is, is the fourth dimension considered physical? Yes. Is the fifth dimension considered physical? Okay. And so I would like to ask, what dimensions the dragons, when they're with us, are the dragons with us in the sixth dimension? Yeah. And is that physical? Is the sixth dimension physical? No. Can we hold the energy or the frequency of the sixth dimension while in physical form? Yeah. Oh, hey, look, that's a very strong yes. Okay. So when our dragons are working with us, are they in sixth? Yes. Seventh dimension? I heard sixth and higher. I love that. Settle down. Mm-hmm. Okay. So, is my higher self a dragon? Yeah. Do all of humanity who are souled beings, are all of their selves dragons, their higher selves dragons? No. Is there a large percentage where souled humanity have dragons as higher selves? Is there a large percentage? Small percentage? Small percentage? 5%? 10%? Are so 10% of the quarter of humanity who are souled, 10% of us have higher selves that are dragons? Is it more than 10%? Okay. And those of us with dragons as higher selves, where our higher selves are in the form of dragon, are there also star seeds who have dragon higher selves? So the 10% of souled humanity who have dragons as higher selves, are they usually earth seeds? Huh. But there are star seeds, beings that might be hybrid, that are connected to dragons, but do not have higher selves that are dragons. Huh. But you can be from Draco and be a star seed. Yes. And not have a dragon as a higher self. Yes. Oh, interesting. Very interesting. So what have we learned today? We have learned that only 1/4 of the population of the planet have actual souls, of the human population. We have learned that 10% of the quarter of humanity, right? 10% of the quarter of humanity that are souled have dragon higher selves. Most likely, those 10% are not earth seeds, or are not star seeds, excuse me. They are earth seeds. If you feel that you are a star seed, that you feel really connected to other galactic civilizations, and you still feel great connection to dragons, that's real. You just might not have a higher self. That's the form of a dragon, in the form of a dragon. Just like me, yeah, I'm an earth seed. And so here's what I know about myself, is that I'm a planet creator, right? My higher self participates in the creation of planets, participates in creation for billions of years. My essence, myself, I'm talking about myself, my essence has been on Gaia, invested in Gaia, present through, endless incarnations, from before humanity as Fae. Maybe I was a dinosaur at some point too, right? Should we ask the rest? Through everything, we can be and maybe have been everything, right? To the point then where we choose to incarnate as human and take the work even further. So it makes sense to me also how my career or my work has shaped itself in supporting other people in knowing who they are, remembering who they are, right? On all of these different levels. And that is an aspect of the perpetuation of the creation of Earth, right? And the anchoring of the new Earth. So I'm gratefully appreciative to have this awareness, right? And to have the memories that I've had, the things that I have said, okay, creator, self, I want to remember. I want to remember who I am. I want to remember all of my different lives. I want to remember how far back I go. And this is what it looks like. It looks like remembering that I am a dragon, right? Remembering that I have participated in, one of the most pronounced memories that I have is being Fae and actually participating in creating river valleys and mountains and coming up and out of the streams and out of the rivers. This is where the fairies are born, in riverbeds. And I learned that when I was in Norway. They showed me how they created the place where we were, which happened to be called, I found out afterwards, Fairy Fjord. Not kidding. Not kidding. So I, while a lot of people are obsessed with being starseeds, I am obsessed with being an earthseed. I think it's funny when people say, I don't want to come back here. I'm not going to incarnate here again. Like my soul goes, why not? This place is amazing. Yes, there are challenges. Yes, there are things that, humanity makes it difficult for itself. Let's be clear, right? Humanity is the one that is allowing the infiltration and the perpetuation of darkness, right? But at the same time, we are so incredible, and we're at this precipice, we're at this brink of mass remembering our abilities, right? That telekinesis and telepathy are truly part of who we are. We can levitate. We just have to practice. We have to remember how. We can read each other's minds because we can come into coherence with each other and be present in the field and receive each other's thoughts. I'm doing it all the fucking time. I'm doing it all the time, right? Just like I'm sitting here with the rods, I'm also receiving psychic information that they're answering with words at the same time that we're getting yes and no answers. They're giving me information, right? So that is a form of telepathy. It's not just claircognizance. I am being telepathic with my dragons. They're giving me information and we're communicating through our minds, from mine to theirs, right? So yeah, maybe it gets you in trouble, but maybe it's also a way that you can make your world better, that you can make your world safe, kind of in that Jedi sense of like, these are not the droids you're looking for, kind of thing, right? Like, you are incredibly happy and I am not interesting to you at all, and turn around and walk the other way, right? So many different layers, right? So many different layers to these memories that are coming back to us, to these healings that we're experiencing as a collective, and what we're moving through right now, right, is the inverted realm telling on itself, right? It's like the inverted world showing its true colors, showing how everything is distorted, and that we can actively correct that by remembering ourselves and remembering the truth within, which is happening. I mean, if your algorithm is helping you, you will be fed individuals who are bringing truth and proper information forward. And you do have to take everything with a grain of salt, sit with it. How does this feel? How does this sit with me? What does this mean? Do I agree? Right? And that doesn't mean just like, oh, this is a great conspiracy theory, I'm going to hop on it too. It's like, no. You need to do your own research and your own intuitive research, right? What are you hearing? What are you hooking into? And where is the truth within? All right, my friends. Well, I'm here to support your further embodiment. If you would like to join the Dragon Tribe, if you are not already a member, this is a great place for you to develop your relationship, your connection to your own dragons, as well as to have a conversation and hang out with mine. That happens every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern. So, not long from now, 45 minutes from now. And it's a phenomenal circle, beautiful, intimate circle where you can ask questions, receive healings, right? And literally just hang out with dragons and receive receive beautiful, loving, healing energy from the dragons. So thank you to my dragons, Alestria and Rumara. Thank you to Keohil and our protector dragons who are always with us as well. We are so grateful. We'll see you again soon. Stay if you will, go if you must. Blessed be. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.